when I had started my YouTube channel, I had moved from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I just wanted like a big life change. But when I moved here, I knew that it would sort of isolate me to a sense where I would just be really focused on the thing that I needed to do. That's why podcasts and conversations like this are so important now. But more than now than ever, you know what I mean?
And listen, if you know something and you know it, and you go into a room of people that think for some reason they've been put in these positions because they know something, but they really don't, don't be afraid to tell them what you know.
Right, and I will tell you 9 times out of 10, the person's like, dude, you're so right. Like, thank you. Like, thank you for not being a yes man and being someone who actually listens and like gives me feedback.
Absolutely. Hey guys, welcome to the Barn Cave. We have an incredibly special guest today, tomorrow, this morning. I don't know what it is,
Today.
But this is what's happening. If you've ever thought about diving into social media, if you're interested in growing your platforms, if you're like, what kind of opportunities, how do I affiliate market, like what is actually involved, how do I start? You're literally the mecca of those things.
I wouldn't say mecca.
So it's John, all of those things, Thick F30 is our guest today.
We've had a lot of rebranding along the way from Thick F30 to Thick Whips and to now, we'll talk more about it later. But Mecca's, thank you.
He is here.
Thank you very much.
So that's the intro. So here we go. So we're here, we're having a good time today. We've been talking a lot. We have a lot to talk about. So I hope you've brought your popcorn and you're sitting there ready to go.
Lots of value. And I've known this guy forever. And I'm just now meeting Miller, and I'm excited to talk to you a little bit about, because I don't really know much. I know a little bit about what you do, but I'm excited to dive into that further and understand more about your channel. I think that everyone, this is interesting because we're all kind of along this YouTube journey at different points.
Totally.
And there's always going to be so much value that we can pull out of that. You know what I mean? Because you learn things along the way from me, and I learn things along the way from you. And
absolutely.
Same with Miller.
Well, and he ran all Braden Price's production and editing and filming that grew him to 2 million subscribers. Wow. And he did that, and now he's got his own channel, and you're up to about 120,000 subscribers. So like, there is a lot of knowledge right here. I'm the grasshopper in the group.
But that's, but also you have knowledge that we don't have. Yep. And so
the business growth side for me is the behind the scenes stuff I'm doing right now is to the nth degree that no one knows what I'm working on.
The development.
And I'm learning from you guys of how to take that and get the eyeballs. And then we're all gonna learn from each other on how to implement these things to grow a successful business. Because again, social media is building a company.
Yep. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Whether you're a media platform or just an influencer, whatever it is, like there's so much more to it, right? Oh wait, no, it's easy.
How much time do we have?
Pretend I'm a guy in your DMs. Hey man, how do I do YouTube? How do I YouTube?
The amount of DMs that I have that are actually like that. I mean, it's like it's we say it like as it's a joke, but no, really, like that's what our DMs look like.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we talk about it?
Yeah,
let's
go, dude.
I remember when you were that guy coming over. We were talking about my old house, messing around. You were just like, hey, let's just go get in the R8 and go shoot some random stuff. To like you being at car shows and me watching you walk around with a camera and be like, this guy's gonna really do something with this.
Thank you. Thank you.
And now you're like,
yeah. Well, I think that like, okay, there's so many ways to unpack this, but let's just start. Well, let's just start with the easiest part of it. I think that I had decided at that point in my life that like no matter what had happened, that was the thing that I wanted to do. That was the hobby that I cared the most about, was the cars and the YouTube. I had always been fascinated with both, and I had these separate skills, but I didn't know how to stack them together. And then once I became, also we have to think back to like YouTube 6 years ago is not what YouTube is today. And when I started my YouTube journey, it was much more taboo and like weird. And like, why does he have a camera? I see people with cameras today and I'm like, that's normal, he's making a fucking YouTube video. But like back then when I started my YouTube channel, it was like, what are you doing?
I felt that way.
You're so weird. Like you have this camera and you're going around talking into it. There's no one on the other side of that camera. And I just had to like continually mentally remind myself that there are people, hopefully someday,
one day,
it worked out, that I'm talking to on the other side of the camera. Yeah. So the most awkward stage of YouTube is getting comfortable, at least it was back then with me, is getting comfortable with the camera in public. And so I forced myself over and over
Brilliant,
again to
dude.
do that. I would literally go to places that were full of people and not even record a video and just have a camera up and talk.
No way.
Dude, all the time. All the time. I did it so I would get
That's
more
amazing.
comfortable with the idea of talking into a camera in front of people, because it's just like public speaking. Like, not everybody is really that great at public speaking until they've had enough muscle memory of doing it over and over again. That was really like the beginning of it for me. And also I found that when I did that more, it was almost like I had like a superpower. Like, it was something that I knew that the majority of people on earth weren't interested or comfortable with doing.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that. It was like my thing. You know what I mean?
I can even feel, just from knowing you way back then to now, the confidence that you've built and grown into over these years has been insane to watch, dude.
Thanks, man.
Because like, even when you're interacting with people in public, it's not even just behind the camera, just in general, because you were a lot quieter when I first, I mean, you're still outgoing and like, you know, if you knew you were outgoing, but like, just like how you've grown, just as an individual.
It's been a journey, man.
It's been awesome.
And I think that that's also something to be told about YouTube. Like, you get into it for a certain reason or a hobby or whatever, and you're going to develop and change over the years and become more than what you are at some point, right?
Yep, totally.
And I think that you guys can both attest to that. Like, you know, we all started somewhere. That first video was awkward, bro. Like,
Goodness.
dude, I had a GoPro session, a $50 GoPro session, and I'm like, hey, God, like I was projecting what I thought people wanted to see.
Yep.
Like, this is how YouTubers act. Yep. Like, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel.
You were trying to be Stradman.
Yeah, and like thousands of videos in, I'm like, what's up, dudes? Like, so this fucking video, we're gonna do this. You know, it's like your friends are just like in the room with you and like you're having a conversation with them, and like that's just how I see it today too.
Well, even you, when I first met you.
So I filmed for Braden, and I was so used to talking behind the camera to him because he fed off my energy and I would feed off his energy. So we'd kind of cut back and forth, but you'd never see me. You just hear my voice. And so whenever I, did my channel, and I had already started it, but I didn't post much on it, and except for like car edits, because I used to be a freelance photographer and videographer. And the first time I turned the camera around, I was like, okay, this is kind of weird. Like, it's weird because I had to adjust and because I was good at adding to the story, but I had to make my own story. I had to start making my own storylines and stuff like that. And I was like, whoa, this is a weird adjustment. I still have trouble, sometimes making the storyline, but if I have other people to bounce off of, it's 100 times better in this story. Yeah, so.
Yeah, more dialogue.
That's a great point too. How did you go? Because a lot of your videos are by yourself.
Yeah.
So like, he's talking about feeding off energy. How did you get not only behind the camera comfortable, but now you got to kind of create everything?
Well, so to kind of like rewind and bring the story back, when I had started my YouTube channel, I had moved from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I just wanted like a big life change. And I knew that I ended up in Charlotte, North Carolina, but when I moved here, I knew that it would sort of isolate me to a sense where I would just be really focused on the thing that I needed to do or wanted to do at the time, which was YouTube. And yes, it was solely me for the majority of the videos. Obviously, like I got involved with you and we did other things. Yep. But when I wanted to start making the videos, it came from a place of wanting to showcase what I was doing and also help other people. And I knew that I could do that just by giving people my knowledge, whether it was with other people or by myself. I also didn't know a lot of people when I first moved here.
Yeah, of course.
So it wasn't a matter of like me being like, oh, it's just gonna be me. It was like, that was circumstance. Like, it was literally just me. And then more people got involved, and I met like James, What's Your Forte, and like my buddy Jay, and like a lot of other guys who got involved in the videos later on, and some of the core guys who were there in the beginning. But going back to the cars, like these were the vessels that introduced us to all the people at the shows. And we
talk about this all the time.
Like, without the car, like I talk about like how my channel now, like I want to dive into more like personal development and growth and all that, but like we wouldn't have gotten to the people without these things.
Exactly.
Like these things are more important than like it might just seem. And that's why sometimes I have difficulty explaining to people what I do, because a lot of it has revolved, your identity is wrapped up in a car or these cars.
Isn't that wild?
And it just naturally is that. I don't want it to be that. I want it to be more than that. But also those are the things that brought those people into my channel.
In the community that's
and brought me to you.
Exactly.
And, yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah.
We preach this all the time, and it's like, you know, a lot of guys might think like, oh, I gotta get to my Lamborghini first before I can get into that community. It's like, no, you can get into it with anything. We just happen to all be passionate about these things and share that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you're rich or you're poor. Like, if you share that passion for cars, it brings people together.
It doesn't have to be cars. Like there is a,
of course,
there is a niche for everyone. Like we were talking about before, like niche down is something that everyone says. I don't really believe in that. I think that you are the niche, and we all have different hobbies. Yep. And there's going to be a community for everything. Like if you want to sew, like you knit and sew, and you'll find 100,000 people that
for sure.
Like
deep communities of that stuff.
And
it's funny you said that because I actually know of that community.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, like, but there's never been an easier time to reach those people.
That's right.
Like we live in this information digital era where we can just literally reach anyone with anything we want to do. So no more excuses.
That's right.
Ever. And like literally, there's no excuse.
I try to have empathy for people in their circumstance, and I try to separate that also from not being so empathetic towards the people that want such a big life change but aren't willing to do what it takes to do it because it's never been easier to make the change. Right. So it's like this.
So, it's like, so simple right now.
Like when I was growing up, we didn't have cell phones until literally I was like in college.
Yeah.
And to imagine, and then social media wasn't even, I remember when Facebook first came out and you had to have an email associated with the university to be able to use Facebook. I remember that too. I didn't go to a university, I couldn't access Facebook. It's wild. Yeah. So like to think of the how much harder in so many ways it was for me to come up in the world when I didn't have access to all these voices. And now that's why I'm like, guys, like you said, like, come on, do it. Like it's not hard in this day and age.
There's never been an easier time.
It's wild.
I mean, dude, I had a pager before I had and then I had a StarTech, and then I had a fucking Nokia. You know what I mean? Like those were, and I didn't have those until high school, late high school. Yeah. Like was the first time we had that. And I thought it was like, oh my God, like I can communicate with other people. Like mostly my mom to tell me to get home.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like we had these like that we could like communicate people so easily. Yeah. And social media changed everything, obviously. Like, I mean, there's just no more excuse anymore to not do the thing that you want to do and connect with the other people who are like-minded, you know?
So this is gonna be a big question. How did you make money?
I didn't at first. Do you mean how did I make money from like YouTube or like before?
You made this big move down here, right? Okay, so like, and you wanted to be a YouTuber, and a lot of people are gonna have this question in their mind. Well, if he's really doing this and he's doing well, how?
So I'm going to compact this to the most easily digestible story as possible, so we're not here for 8.5 hours.
And they need to go follow you because you're going to be able to provide that value in the near future. Yeah, on a more expanded 100%. Scale.
I just put out a video literally explaining all of this. I'm going to condense it down right now.
I love this.
So I was going to school for art. Not the smartest thing to go to school for. Because you're going to like struggle when you get out to find a job. Right. Art and graphic design is what I went to college for. That was one of my degrees, and it was a community college, 2.5 years. Yep. Got my degree, went out into the workforce, couldn't find a job, got paid hardly anything, was working for $30,000 a year for multiple screen printing and embroidery companies. So we were doing textiles, t-shirts, hats, whatever, branding for other companies. And I was freelancing on the side as well. So I had worked for enough companies that I just hated my job over and over again. I was super miserable, making no money, trying to make it work. And I finally landed a job doing the same thing, but I was the art director for a screen printing company, and the guy who owned the company was a friend of mine. What he allowed me to do was start my own screen printing company where I got contract printing prices, and I could go out to my friends who owned bars and restaurants and athletic clubs or whatever, and they could pay me, it was called Threadline Prints, they could pay me to do their apparel, and I would pay him a cut, and I would make like just a shave off the top.
Sure.
Because he wasn't willing to pay me anymore. I think I was making like, I don't know, like $40-something thousand a year. But he couldn't pay me anymore, but I knew that I could bring more value and make more money. He didn't want to pay me commissions, so I was like, oh, well, let's pretend I'm just another client of yours, like a contract printing company. and I come to you and I have my own clients, but I'll also still do your 9 to 5 artwork and everything, and you're gonna make money and I'm gonna make money. This plays a big role later on.
By the way, it's such an awesome way to approach that.
Totally,
It's
yeah.
smart on your part.
Entrepreneur, dude, like hustler, like from the beginning, you know what I mean? Like I always was
what
just
it takes.
hustling. I was just always trying to make a buck.
Yep.
Like, and figure out how to do it because of situation, right? Like my situation wasn't good enough for me at the time, so I wanted to make it better. So I had done that for 3-4 years, and eventually was making my business on top of what I was doing was making over $100,000 a year. I was probably pulling for profit like 20 grand, but back then that profit meant everything. I mean, that was the difference between, at that age, that was in your 20s, was the difference between, you know, eating ramen and eating like a steak
Being
dinner.
able to go to a bar and you have a drink with a friend.
And being able to be around your friends and everything. So then what I realized is somewhere in there I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. I wanted to change. I didn't want to keep doing the exact same thing. However, when I did move to Charlotte, North Carolina from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which was that decision was majorly based on climate.
Yeah, right.
Not even gonna lie to you, like climate and just where I was, I didn't enjoy it. I wanted something new. Sold everything I owned and quit my job. And actually, he allowed me to work from home for him, which was so key to me being able to do what I did next. So I was gonna move either way, but I had a conversation with him. I said, hey man, I'm moving. Like I wanna change my life. I wanna do something different. And he said, well, I'll still pay you to like do the artwork. You can just do it from home. Because at that point, literally everyone was starting to work from home. And luckily it worked out and he was cool enough to allow me to do that.
That's so awesome.
Or else I would have been searching for another job the moment I got here.
Right.
So I was basically I was hired as a contract employee, like I was a freelancer, and moved here, and I still had the t-shirt, my company, Threadline Prints, and I was still hustling, doing all these things. And I got to the point where I was really, really, really tired of having to exchange time for work and do it with, and have to do like hands-on customer services. Like I didn't want to deal with shipping, I didn't want to deal with returns, I didn't want to deal with emails, I didn't want to deal with order taking, any of it. I was just tired of it. And I knew that there were other ways to make money. I didn't know what other ways, but I knew that I would figure it out.
Yeah.
So on the side, while I was doing that, I still had my income coming in from the freelance stuff, and I decided that I'd always loved YouTube. Like, where do we all go to get our information and learn everything? YouTube. And this is 6 years ago when like YouTube was just, in my opinion, the best place to go for entertainment. And so I had like a list of creators that I looked up to, and I had also owned a BMW 328 at the time.
Okay. Yep.
It was just like a base model like BMW. Didn't plan on modifying it, but I had a past and a history of modifying cars when I was younger, when I was like 16 years old. And so I just decided I wanted to get into YouTube. And I decided that I was gonna do it with cars because I liked both those things, and it just was a natural progression from there. Started modifying the car, started filming it super awkwardly, had no idea what I was doing. People looked at me like I was nuts.
I know that stage. It's so
Bro,
funny.
it was so
it's so
awkward.
bad. You're like, I want to do it, but it's just
I was just like,
terrible. Yeah.
I would like find secluded places on top of like the parking garage was like my staple because no one would watch me there, you know? I could like get away with it.
So
and then like
funny.
security would come up like, dude, what are you doing? I'd be like, I'm just making
That
a
dude's
video.
back on
like,
the cameras again.
yeah,
man.
like
He's up top.
I'm just making a video, you know? And there was literally no one watching, like nobody, for months. Like I was just putting out these videos that were cars, and then I was doing some like motivational stuff on the side, and I was just ranting into the camera and just trying to get traction somehow. And because I found it fascinating that there would be another person on the other side of that that would watch it and be like, whoa, cool. Like I elect to subscribe to this guy and continue to watch whatever he's doing or the value that he's giving out.
By the way, go watch one of his really early bad videos.
You'll see it. Literally, I changed the title of my first video that I ever made, which was like Vlog 1. I changed it to like, you landed here because you wanted to see how cringe my first video was. Like, I literally changed the title because
Go
like,
find it.
everybody went back and like saw it after I blew up.
It's so
and like, no
awesome.
one's an expert at first, right? Like, it takes time. And so my thing at the time was cars, and like, it was BMW specifically, and I just started modifying my first BMW. And lo and behold, there were other people who were into that. and they started following
A lot of
along.
other people.
Yeah, a lot of people
Yep.
that I didn't even realize that would happen like that. But then I had like my first breakthrough when I figured out about Beamer Code. And Beamer Code was an app on your phone
Yep.
that you could download, and you could connect it to the OBD2 port in your car, and it would communicate with your car, and you could code in different functions into the car. So like if I wanted my mirrors to close when I locked it, it could do that. If it like maybe didn't come with that. Or like I wanted to roll down my windows with a key fob, I could do that. Or like have lights go on whenever.
Wild.
It was wild then, because to me it was crazy because it only existed in the forums. Like people were talking about it online, but nobody was making videos on it. And I'm like, where do you go to learn shit? YouTube. I was like, it just like all clicked.
That's cool.
And I was like, okay, I'm gonna start making videos, like, because I was just pivoting constantly trying to figure out what to do. I was like, I'm gonna make videos on Beamer Code. And I just literally made a video on every single thing that you could code into the car that I had at the time. And it just took off. Like from there, I had captured an audience of people who were also interested in it, and I was providing them with value that they wanted to learn about. And that was like, that was it. Like that moment was like, it changed everything for me because it was proof that it could work. The moment that I saw that people had elected to subscribe to me and watch the channel, I knew that I could make it work. And I was just reckless from there on out. Like, I was like,
you were definitely reckless.
I ended up quitting everything else. The moment
Wild.
like, I got into affiliate marketing because I learned that you could take the things, the OBD2 adapter that communicated the phone to the car, and I learned that I could make money selling that adapter on the side, affiliate marketing, and you could do it through Amazon, and it was just so easy and effortless. And I was like, I could be making money without having to spend time. I can make money in my sleep.
That's right.
So it was like the first bit of money that I made where I didn't apply any time to it. And that completely changed the way that I looked at money, the way I looked at trading time for money, and YouTube.
And the cool thing is someone already built Amazon, and people from all over the world can buy from Amazon.
Yeah.
So next thing you know, and this
Exactly.
is one method of affiliate marketing, but I remember you talking about it, and when you told me things like, hey, look, someone clicks on that link, I captured them for 24 hours for everything they buy on Amazon.
Dude, that was crazy.
I was like, what?
So like,
How does that even how did you even figure that out? How did you even begin it?
I got obsessed. Dude,
Yeah.
like everything
You have
that
to,
I became obsessed with YouTube. I became obsessed with cars. I became obsessed with affiliate marketing. I literally just consumed it constantly. I was not willing to take anything less than figuring this out for myself and making money doing that.
Well, and technically now your life really did depend on it.
Dude, yeah. I mean, like the fact that I'm still making money to this day for things that I promoted 6 years ago is proof in the pudding. Like, some people, when they think about affiliate marketing, they're like, oh, you have to have a huge audience. Like, I didn't. I had 100 people, dude. And like, you're telling me that you can't find a way to get 100 people to follow you? Like, yeah, you can. You probably have 100 friends that you don't even know about. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And once I learned that you could do this through affiliate marketing and that Amazon, like people are already shopping on Amazon. Like it's like people are buying their diapers and Q-tips on there. Like
When you told me you got a commission one time from Q-tips, I was dying. I was like,
That's so funny.
the thing that like blew my mind is I learned that you could use Amazon as this affiliate platform. It was called Amazon Associates. I'm pretty sure it's still Amazon Associates.
Yep.
But you could go on there and sell your product to your followers, and then as soon as that person clicked on your link, you had them for 24 hours. So anything that they were going to buy for the next 24 hours, it doesn't matter what it is, you're making a commission on it. That blew my mind. I was like, is this legal?
so I have affiliate marketing attached to me as well, and I haven't promoted it as much as you have, and I plan to. But the other day I was in there and I'm like, I made $15.41 the other day, and I'm like, what is this from? It was like a baby seat and a play set, and I'm like,
Like, what in the world?
I never have my kids on my channel. How did that happen? It's like someone probably clicked in one of my YouTube videos on one thing that took them there, and they didn't even care to buy that thing.
Nope.
I got paid on other
They were
stuff.
like, oh, well, I'm here. I'm going to
Saved it in their cart maybe, or saved it in their save for later, or
Literally,
something like that. And
literally. Thanks to you, I made $15.
Yeah, so that was
Life-changing.
We're rich.
that was like breakthrough stuff though. Like when
Literally.
I figured that out, it was another proof and concept for me that like I can do this. Like, I've just started doing this, and I've already figured out, because I wasn't getting paid any money through YouTube. Like, YouTube wasn't paying me anything at the time. And I was like, I didn't even know that you could be monetized through YouTube when I first started. But I figured out affiliate marketing, and that became the obsessive thing for me at the time. And then, like, I learned about monetization and everything.
Well, if you think about it, there's a lot of websites too. I always wondered why this was, but if you do like a Google search, like what's the best microwave? And then it takes you to like, there's like 50 people, like, right? And then you click, and then it has all these ratings, and then you're like, oh, well, of course I'm gonna buy the best one, number one, right? So you click number one, and it's affiliate, and you're like, it all makes sense now. Because that might not even be the best one, but they just got you to buy whatever.
So
this is how it works, but lied to all these years.
They'll make like the top 10 list of best microwaves, and they'll have the link to the microwave. So they're plugging that in.
Which is exactly what he's
doing.
doing.
Like, so I went down that hole too. Like, I was like, oh, this is all SEO. This is all like back end, like linking, and then like getting people to like find. And like also another big one at the time was, well, and it's still big, is blogs, writing blogs. People come, that's like a blog, pretty much. Like, you're having people come to the blog, you find a way to get them there, and then you have your, whatever you recommend to them, and they buy it. It's all the same. Like, it really is all the same. And so I went down that obsessive road of, well, I can literally build cars, and every single part that I put on the car, or tool that I use to build the car, or soap that I use to wash the car, everything is a product that you can sell to someone if you show them how to use it, and you can have a commission out of it. You can take a commission from that. And you're not like telling them to buy anything, you're just showing them the value in it. And then from that, hopefully, they buy it from you, or the person who's selling it, and you make a cut.
And by the way, the company does not increase the price for you to sell it. So there's nothing changes, because there's a lot of people that might be like, I know this trick, and they'll try to go around you and buy stuff. And it's like, you're actually just hurting the creator, because there's no difference to you on the other end.
You don't get
you're not getting a discount by
it,
going direct. It's just part of. So anyway, just thought I'd throw that in there.
And there are like.
So go buy from his site.
And, and there's like a magnitude of ways that it works, right? Like, there's like sometimes you get a code and you get a discount, and then also make a little bit of money and they get a discount or whatever. But the majority of it, like, I started with Amazon because I just knew that everyone was shopping on Amazon. It would be so easy to convert. And I just went through literally everything that I had on my car or that I would use, and I would buy new things off of Amazon to try out. And that it just became this vessel that I knew I could make money on, and also provide like value as well as like my hobby. So it was like a win-win all around. Like, they got the value, I was doing what I loved, and I also was able to make a living doing it. And then like it separated from that, and I learned about websites. And I learned how to build my own website. And then I learned, oh my God, I can literally build out an entire website with every car I've ever built, every BMW modification, and it can just be an entire directory of affiliate links. And that was like.
But also, it's not just you with a shopping cart. It's literally like, here's all this value I can bring to you, because all this stuff I've learned over all these years and all this, it's right here. So if you're looking to modify your BMW and you liked my build, here you go. You want your car to be like mine? It's right here. And all you got to do is click links as you go through, and your car can be like mine.
You can't convert without value. Like, you have to have the value and the trust in order for people to use your links. They're not just going to come to your video and like, some will, but not everyone. Like, the majority of the numbers that you want in order to actually make a living doing this, you need to put out enough free advice for people and value for them to trust you and want to buy from your links. People are they know already, like, nowadays how it works, like with affiliate marketing and links. Like, they're like, oh, you're just doing this to get a click on the link. Well, like, no, I actually like this product and I actually use it. And that's why, like, you don't have to buy it, but like, I think it works, and if you want to use it and you want to use my link, great. Like, I'll make some commission from it.
And as a consumer, you'd rather see something being tested and being reviewed. Like, if I was going to go buy a side skirts off of you or something like that, I'd be like, okay, how is it easy to put them on? Let me see him do it and be like, oh, well, I was on the fence about it, but now that I saw him, how easy it was for him to do it, now I'll go get it, and might as well, while I'm on the video already, I'll click the link,
Yeah,
and the whole, like,
the
turnoff right now, we talked about this earlier, is the people that are shoving products in your face. How annoying is that crap?
Advertisements.
And what you're talking about is so true, because, your channel and all your content had always been so authentic. That's what I've committed to mine being too. I'm just being myself when I'm doing this channel. Same with Miller. So like, when you're using something and you're selling it through your affiliate link, it's legitimately just something that you just
Yeah.
use all the time.
Yeah, it's literally a thing that I use all the time.
Yeah.
So YouTube is a crazy and complex journey that you go through ebbs and flows, and you try many different
wild.
things, and
Yep.
like endorsements and sponsorships and products. I've done it all. I literally tried everything. I've taken on products from other people to make $300,000-$400,000 here and there to pitch a product that I really don't believe in. We've all done it. We've all gone down that road, and I've learned through going through that process that I don't want to do that. I don't want to diminish my brand by pitching products to people that I don't believe in or don't use. I don't think there's any value in it. I think it's thinking short term. I don't think it's thinking long term,
Yep.
you know, if you want people to stick around, really.
Yep.
And I think about YouTube the way that I view YouTube. If I go to watch someone's channel, I can't stand it when they're like, this video is brought to you by, you know.
Oh, I was going to say, by the way, we have to stop for our sponsor real
Air
quick.
up, yeah.
Hold on.
Air up,
I'm just
yeah.
kidding.
But like that, no, literally, like but how many creators do you
All
go to
the
when
time.
you're like deep in thought? You're deep in like whatever they're
You
talking
mean like
about.
what I
and
just
then
did and totally
then it's
broke
like,
up your
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then it's like,
yeah.
oh, buy this sponge because I, wiped my back with it the other day. It's gonna
No
work
time
really
faster.
well.
I fast
It's
forward
just
through the
like-
video.
And I'm like, click, click, click,
Yep,
click,
yep.
click. So by recognizing that, I realized that I don't want to be that. If I don't like consuming it, I know other people aren't going to like consuming it.
We talk about that too.
My favorite is when someone's talking about something and they think they're clever with their segue to go into like the product, but it's like totally not. And you're like, dude, like I knew that this like video was
coming.
not about like, stuffed animals. Like I already knew that. Like, But that is the journey of YouTube, man. And like, like you said too, like we've all probably gone down that road where we've tried things out just to try them out and see if they work.
Yep.
Which is, has everything to do with sponsorships and endorsements, but also the kind of content that you want to put out.
That's right.
And what thumbnails work and storyline and everything.
You hit some really good points about, and if you've been listening, kind of reading between the lines about getting to your niche, and then now you're in this transition where you're trying to kind of reach a broader audience and doing this personal brand stuff. I mean, what I've noticed, the journey that is YouTube, because I'm early on, but what I've studied is like, listen, you put out 100 videos, they all suck. And then after that, now you're trying to kind of increase the quality of the content. So now your videos might still suck, but at least they are somewhat better to watch. Like at least, okay, it makes sense. These transitions are good on the edits. Now, and then eventually you start getting into the storyline and the real like, and that's what we're trying to do through like these interviews and stuff. Like we've talked about before, like the core of my channel, I want it to be these discussions. I want you to be able to sit back and go, man, I really relate with that. Or man, I got a lot of value out of this video. And then you can continue to do all your fun stuff and tie it back in. So is that something that now you've kind of, because you've already monetized to where you make a good living off of what you do. So now with this transition, is there like another level to this that's beyond that even?
Absolutely, dude. I think that, so YouTube is a game of numbers.
Yep.
And no matter how many videos you put out, like as long as you're trying to be 1% better in the next video or wherever you want to go with the content. But also like we have to think about YouTube in terms of like, if you're the channel, you are not the same person your whole life. Yep. Like every 6 years, you're probably going to change.
Absolutely.
I mean, even sooner than that. Let's be real, probably every year.
Yep. Yeah, every year.
I mean, let's be real.
Yep.
But you're going to have enough L's along the way that it's going to make you want to change the content. And what we were talking about earlier for me is I have been doing cars for 6 years and I love cars. I will still continue to always do cars, but it's such a micro niche that I feel like there's more that I have to offer.
You have so much value now through your journey that it needs to reach more people.
And that's the thing that I want to share. Like I always want to do the cars because I just like doing the cars. Like it makes sense, But I also I like working out. I like health. I like eating well. I like building wealth. I like building businesses. I like affiliate income. I like all of these different things that are much larger than just one small little niche. That's why I went back to saying the niche is you, the niche is not cars.
So smart. And I've loved, and we talked about this on your stories, just in the last couple of days even, you've had these tweets you've been putting out that are like, I've read them and I'm like, all of a sudden like, oh my God, I want to know more. Like, how did you write so well, first of all? And then it's like, oh my gosh, it transitions into something that maybe also brings this in, but is like so relevant to that thing you just said.
So I'll be completely honest, like I'm just testing stuff out right now. Like
I love it.
But this is my favorite time. Because like any time that you get to a point where you're not happy or fully satisfied with what you're doing, you're likely at a point where you're going to be changing something.
Yep.
And it will lead into something that's bigger and better. And so for me, I've been doing YouTube for 6 years and video and photo and design, but I haven't been writing. And I want to be a better writer. And I was just telling Vinny how I am now taking a writing course because I want to become a better writer.
Yep.
Like take me back to the 3rd grade and let me like relearn how to write.
Oh my God, and we hated school
so
so much growing up, and now it's
that's
funny,
because-
we're like trying to go back.
Yeah, we're trying to learn the core fundamentals of things that help us communicate with other human beings. And writing is literally that. Like every video starts with writing. The majority of good videos start with writing.
Yeah.
And your tweets and your, or I guess X's, whatever they call them now, and then your threads and your Instagram posts or Facebook posts and your video, your story blocks in a video, it all begins with how well you can write.
Yep.
And so I've had all of these thousands of videos that I've done so far,
Incredible.
but I haven't really written in a lot of them. And now I want to sort of go back and gain this new skill. Like how many skills have you learned since you started YouTube?
Countless.
Yeah, you're like a different person.
I'm
now.
overwhelmed
Yeah,
most of the time.
right.
Like I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah,
this
your
is
brain, you just like endless opportunities. Yeah. That's,
Like we text at such late hours, and we're like, okay, so I had this idea, like next week maybe we could do this different, or like, you know, I learned this today. What if we applied that to the next video and stuff like that? I mean,
and that's the best part because you get
love
excited
being able
about
to
the little
bounce.
things,
Yep.
and then they like turn into bigger things.
They do.
Yeah, and that's just like
Tying your Christmas tree to
journey.
the top of a GT40.
yeah. Sorry, I hope it's not scratched too bad.
Yeah, so I mean that's really it, man. And then you know I've just kind of taken it from there, and you know I'm like I said before, like 1% better for every video, and kind of deciding what your angle is going to be, and develop on it as best as you can.
I love this so much because what we're going to do is like, let's say 12 months from now, we do this again.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
what's going to happen is
it'll be completely different.
this is going to be, the setup's going to be different for me. I mean, you know, it's going to be so much more, yeah, your situation, like, and that's what I love about this. And that's why we always talk about the journey, because the journey is the most fun part. So many people message me and they're like, man, it must be really nice to have all these
want the
cars.
end.
And I'm like, you don't understand. Like, once you get here, like I'll sit up there once in a while and I'll look down and I'll be like, man, this is cool. And then I don't want to do anything. But then I'm like, I got to change something up.
Yes.
Because now that I'm here, it's kind of boring.
Got complacent.
And I'm not saying my life is boring. I'm just saying like you have those moments where you're like, I guess I could go take that one out and I love driving it, but like, you gotta constantly be changing. Mm-hmm. You gotta constantly be finding that new journey, because what you don't realize once you get here is the journey was the best part of the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
It really was.
I wish they say that a lot of people sometimes self-sabotage because of that. Like they will get to a certain point and they have it all, but they'll literally like self-sabotage so they can get back to that place where they have to build again.
Or they'll turn to drugs.
Right.
Or they'll turn to,
Yeah.
and they ruin their whole life.
Right.
Yeah, like you said, self-sabotage. I mean, like I think that drugs is not a intentional self-sabotage, but there are other ways people self-sabotage that because they want to kickstart something.
I think that like what I meant by it was like, you know, they will pivot to something that they know nothing about.
You're absolutely right.
And then they're like, oh, this is what it felt like when I had the GoPro session on top of that, you know, that parking garage in Valentine. I had no idea what I was doing. Like, it's the same feeling. It's like and I'm like, oh my God, I have so much to learn. Like, I'm a terrible writer. I'm like horrible at writing. I mean, I'm not the worst, but I'm pretty bad. And so now I'm like, great, I get to build this new skill. And so like, if we're not doing that every day, then what are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, we're not doing something that excites us and learning more and educating ourselves a bit more, then really what are we doing? Like,
well, I think also what I was trying to get at as well is there's once you get to this level, your approach is definitely way better. But there are some people that just get there and they don't realize that they always wanted to be here. Mm-hmm. They finally achieved it and realized it was so miserable they gave up on their life too. Right. That's the other side. So that's why, in my opinion, also the journey is so important, because you don't want to end up, you know, here either.
100%.
So we got to keep that journey continuing to go, and we have to that's why I love what I'm doing right now with you guys so much, is because it is something brand new. Holy shit, deep dive. And I'm enjoying every second about all the learning and the experiences and the opportunities, right?
I think that you're able to really love this part of the process because you've gone through other journeys and you've gotten to a place where you can like look back in retrospect and be like, wow, like the building blocks of what I did in real estate or whatever was really like the part that was so exciting. Because there were things that happened. There were things that happened along the way that you were like, oh my God.
You
it's
nailed it.
So like, you look back and now that you're building a new thing, you're like really soaking it in. Like
really
you're way more involved.
Way more and realizing and present to it.
Yeah.
Whereas on your initial journey, you get to the end result.
You're like, I just want to be here with the money and the cars and the thing but like you didn't realize. And then once you got there, you're like, man, like that building part was really the part that I fucked with the most. Like, that was the best. That was the best part.
It's so true.
Yeah, it's the same thing. And I think that honestly, like building my first business, like on the side, my little supplemental income was that like journey for me where I built it up to the point where I was like, all right, I did that. Like it's not really something I'm interested in anymore, but the journey was the best part. And then I learned, okay, going into the next thing, like let's really take in that part of the journey where I'm more present and like there for it.
Even today when you came over and you're talking about like this next path for yourself, I could just feel the passion and and like the happiness it was evoking behind your voice because it's like so exciting that you're going to be able to reach more people and do more with it. And I think that's where your heart really lies in evolving. The whole thing.
It's just you know evolving to something, in my opinion, that's bigger and better, and like that's great. You know, I mean,
listen, I mean, we're talking about getting all this podcast equipment and setting up a podcast, so we're doing like this, right, which is on YouTube, obviously. We're going to extract audio and put it on the platform once I figure out how that's going to be branded and where I'm going to land it, stuff like that. But like, then we do the other content. Now we're going to start live streaming. But listen, there's moments where I'm like, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about on the podcast. But we just did a podcast.
That's because you don't want to go into a podcast thinking you're doing a podcast. You want to go into a podcast having a conversation. And conversations are the things that most people can relate to.
And I listen to so many different podcasts that you sit back as a listener and you go, man, I feel like that guy had that planned out and that guy had that planned out and this is the topic and they're political and they're not political, they're cars. And then you're like, well, what am I gonna do? But I like talking about all of it. And then it's almost like you just do it and you just enjoy the journey.
You just free flow it, man.
Yeah.
And that's where the best stuff comes from.
And you find people that relate to you and want to hear you're in like you. So there are people like, okay, I like this guy's taste in cars. I like what he has to say about, you know, journeys and being inspirational and stuff like that. And then they're like, oh, okay, well, I'll listen to him. What else does he have to say? I probably will like it.
So wild.
It's true.
It's so cool. And I have a feeling there are a lot of people that are very dedicated to you and your channel and what you've produced. They're going to follow you wherever you go because they're going to want to see this journey as well.
And you
may have not have met 99% of them.
Same thing. Like we had a conversation the other night on the way to dinner. We were having a conversation. So my girlfriend and I were having a conversation on the way to dinner the other night, and I was like, at this point where I'm like, yeah, I just don't like, you know, I love cars and I love doing this, but like I just feel like there's got to be more to it. You know what I mean? Like there's more depth to this, and like what do I want to do like next? Like what's the next thing? And she was like, you need to like just do you. And I was like, it's like such a simple saying, but like it's very true. Like I need to just do the things that I really enjoy, that I think people resonate with, which is just me, which is my personal brand, which is just me. And naturally, the people who want to be there will be there. Not everyone will want to be there, but that's life, dude. You got to have that push and pull. Like that's part of it. We got to have the haters, you know what I mean?
Some people are going to be like, I don't like this new direction. I'm going somewhere else.
For you.
For every one person you lose because of that, you're going to gain 10 to 20 others that are going to love you for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you cannot be someone who is just like down the middle, like no opinion, like, I agree with everything. No one wants to listen to that, dude. They want to hear what you have to say. They want to hear why you have an opinion, what you believe in, and how you want to teach it to other people. You know what I mean? And they can decide from there what they want to do with it.
Yep.
But you have to have that edge.
Man, I have so many funny stories about going into behind closed doors town meetings and speaking I have like no filter. And they're great stories.
But that's why we love you.
But you know what I mean? But you know what? If you don't have that in life,
if I wanted a filter, I'd watch the news.
Exactly.
Sorry, babe, I love you. Yeah. Girlfriend works for the news. She's a news anchor. I love the news. Oh God. What have I done?
Cut.
No, but they want authentic people with
Exactly.
authentic conversations, which is the conversation we were having outside. That's why podcasts and conversations like this are so important now. But more than now than ever, you know what I mean?
And listen, if you know something and you know it, and you go into a room of people that think for some reason they've been put in these positions because they know something, but they really don't, don't be afraid to tell them what you know.
Right, yeah.
You know,
Because
it falls in anything.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and everyone has a chance to learn something from someone.
And it also can change the direction of people's lives in a good way when you tell them that how bad their idea is.
Right.
Because we know that doesn't work.
Yeah,
Because
I do it all the time.
Yep.
I do, and then it's not me being a dick, it's just me being honest.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I will tell you 9 times out of 10, the person's like, dude, you're so right. Like, thank you. Like, thank you for not being a yes man and being someone who actually listens and like gives me feedback.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And listen, this also goes to relationships. I can't tell you how many times, and I feel like I'm risking my relationship sometimes for coming in and being like, no, you don't understand. Like, it's like, this is how it is because I know this is how it is.
Yeah.
And pull the emotion out for a second. I'm not saying I'm always right, but it's like, it has actually made our marriage and relationship stronger because she also learns to do the same thing. And I go, oh, you're right. Like, anyway, that's a whole nother podcast.
That's what a relationship is, right?
Whether it's a relationship with your wife or your YouTube follower or your friend or whatever,
who it is, man.
The authenticity is going to keep that person there.
It's way more value in a relationship.
The authenticity and integrity.
Yeah.
Hands down.
That's right, man.
Man,
That's right.
we need part 2.
We're almost at an hour, so.
Perfect.
Beautiful.
But you know, in the future, so for the platform, I'm sure for you too, when we're doing these podcasts, I'd like to keep them at least at an hour going. I mean, because there's so much that gets unpacked later as we're talking.
Yeah.
As you notice, like if you've watched earlier episodes, they start off kind of awkward sometimes. Not today. Today was actually because we've just known each other.
back.
But like you get warmed up and then so much of the good info happens later in the conversation.
Yeah.
That's where you need to be really paying attention.
I agree.
Yep. So anyway, so I think we need to plan a part 2. We're going to do some other stuff with him today that'll be in another episode you're going to stay tuned for. Do you guys want to take us out somehow? I always take us out.
Oh, from the podcast?
From today. From right now.
Yeah, man.
Is there a closeout? Is there anything you would like to share? A glimmer of hope.
I'm trying to think of like what people on the other side would like be watching this for and what they would want to hear.
That's a great point right there.
That's how I try to think of all of it,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, you got to think about like humans because we're all humans watching this.
Yeah.
Well, I think that if you're on this channel, you obviously know Vinny and you've been watching him long enough, and there's so much value that this man has yet to unpack for the majority of you. And I think that in the future, from the conversations that we had when I first rolled up, there's going to be a lot of value that you're going to give these people for the majority of it for free, and it's life-changing value. So if you know what's good for you, you probably should just continue watching this channel and listening to what this man has to say. And probably all the people that he has on here, because they obviously are bringing some sort of value for you to want them on here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And thank you for that. I wouldn't expect that, but that was awesome.
Well, that's the truth of it, man. Listen, like, I've known you long enough. I know why. I know what you're about, and I think that when you told me that you were starting a YouTube channel, I was like, I know exactly what he needs to do. Like, I knew. I was just like, you have to teach people. Like, that is your gift. Like, you have done certain things in your life. You build up a certain amount of wealth. Teach others how you did that.
And I love that because that's where my heart is and that's where this is headed.
Yeah.
And he's right. Stay tuned because there's a lot in the works right now surrounding this topic.
Yeah.
And it was like, let's get 100 videos up of us having fun. Mm-hmm. Let's try to get some eyeballs on the channel, but we're really going to try to help change your life.
Yep.
That's really what our purpose is behind what we're doing.
It's awesome.
That's another reason why I wanted to have you here, because there's a lot of people who pay attention to this space and want to be in this space.
Yeah.
And you're an expert at in this space.
Yeah, I mean, I have experience in being in this space. I feel like, but the crazy thing is when I think about it, I'm like, man, I just have so much to learn. I think if you look at it like that, you're going into it without an ego, and you're always going to be fulfilling yourself with new knowledge on YouTube. Because I'm not Mr. Beast. Like, you know what I mean? But also, like, there's just so much to learn from people who.
Do you know what's so funny that you just said? That every person I've had come in here, whether it's a famous NASCAR driver or a very successful business owner that sold their business and made a gazillion dollars, right? They all say the same thing. They first of all feel like they know nothing, and second of all, they feel like they're imposters, and they don't feel like they.
Imposter syndrome is real.
It's real.
Like, it's
I
so
feel
real.
it all the time.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't know enough as much as Joe Rogan, so I'm not going to start, or Andy Frisella, or
dude,
those guys.
So important.
Those guys
like,
rock it, and I'm like, I could never play in their space with them, so I'm just not going to start.
Yep.
Don't be like that.
Just start, dude. Just start. But also, like, to build on that, people who think that they don't have enough experience just by living have more experience than other people, and you always have something to offer. Like, you did something in your life. Like, more than likely, you did something in your life, and you could probably share that experience with other people.
Absolutely.
And it will help them to some capacity, no matter what it is. You know what I mean?
So true, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so turn the camera on.
Yeah, exactly. Do it yourself. You don't even need a camera. You can use your phone.
Yeah,
whatever.
Dude, there's some
matter.
huge creator. I mean, there's 7 million plus just using a stupid phone. And then you go in and put all this effort in with these 3 different cameras and all this stuff, get 100 views, but you just gotta do it.
The amount of times that I have people asking me in the DMs, like, hey, does this camera package look good? I'm gonna start my YouTube channel. I'm like, why are you buying that? I was like, you don't even know if you want to do this.
Most of those people are actually not going to do anything with it. They're not going to succeed because their mindset is wrong.
Things before
If you wanted
Exactly.
to do it, you would just start it on your phone.
Like, dude, just go. Just go. Like, I didn't buy anything. I just had this fucking GoPro session that was $50. It was like, I think it was like 720p. Like, it was so bad. And I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing, but you know.
Yeah.
So.
All right, well, we're wrapping it up. That's a wrap. We appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. And
thanks for having me, man.
yeah, if you like this and you like him, go check his stuff out. Go follow him and share this because the more you share stuff like this, the more value, more people we can reach, more value we can add to society. So,
definitely.
And you especially want to share it because of the stuff we're about to bring you. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. And if you like cars and you like podcasts, there's going to be cars in the background of our podcast. So if anything, if you don't like what we have to say, you can stare at the cars.
Just look at my mirror for a while.
What wheels are those? Oh yeah, just go to his affiliate link. It all ties together.
It's like a full circle. This is a full circle. All right, guys, we'll see you next time.